Do you want to be the main character in a TV show? Now you can do it with just a few selfies. Here are a few examples I made earlier. Anyone can do it, even if you don't have a powerful computer. First, we're going to train something called an AI LoRA using my selfies, so it will learn what my face looks like. After the training, we're going to generate a few images of myself in different kinds of environments and scenarios. Finally, we will animate those images using an AI video generation tool. To train an AI on our face, we need to prepare a set of images of our face. In this example, I'm using around 25 images that I took, all at different angles and with different expressions. The important thing here is to make sure that the images are sharp and that your features are clearly visible with enough light. So try not to use a crop of your face from a group photo, it won't work. We will upload the images into something called a LoRA training tool. LoRA stands for low rank adaptation. It's like creating a mini model of your face, and at the end of the training process, I will get a file that I can plug into the image generation tool. The LoRA training tool that I'm using is called Flux LoRA, and one of the places you can run this training is on a website called fal.ai. After you upload your images, you also need to include a trigger word. In this case, my trigger word is LX2. Later, when you generate new images, you will add your trigger word into your text prompt. The training takes around 5 minutes to complete, depending on how many images you have. And once the training is done, you can move to the next step to generate new images of yourself. Now that the LoRA training is done, we can start generating new scenarios. I use ChatGPT to suggest a list of scenes that I can create. For example, to generate an image of myself in a zombie apocalypse, I use this prompt. Man LX2 is dressed in tattered clothing, carrying a rusted shotgun. Background is a desolate, crumbling city, wrecked, abandoned cars and vegetation. Expression is tense, reflecting the harsh world he lives in. So you can see that I included my trigger word LX2 in the prompt. This is what tells the image generation to use the LoRA that we created earlier. Of course, you also need to load the LoRA file into this model. So I'm pretty happy with this image. If you like, you can re-roll your image generations a few times. But to adjust or to do some fine-tune adjustments, you can play with a few things. The first is the seed number. So the seed number is a random number that you include in all image generations. If you use the same number every time, you will always get the same image. So play around with the different seed numbers. You can randomize it until you get the composition that you want. Next, you can play with the guidance scale. This is a number that determines how closely the image will follow your text prompt. There's a great example on another website that shows the impact of a low guidance scale versus a high guidance scale. Basically, the lower the number, the more freedom the model will have to generate the image. But it may also produce unwanted results. And finally, you can play with the LoRA scale. This is a number that sets how much weight your training data will influence the final image. So the higher the number, the closer it will look like you. The lower, it won't look like you at all. Now let's take the image that we generated and load it into an image to video generation tool. In this example, I'm using klingai.com. But there are other platforms like Runway ML and Pika.art. So you upload your image and you also include a text prompt again. But since you already uploaded a reference image, in your text prompt, you don't have to describe the contents of the image all over again. You don't even have to include your LoRA trigger word. All you need to do is to describe the cinematography. For example, the camera movement and the style of the shot. So in this example, we want a slow zoom in. Asian man looks into the distance with growing concern, makes small movements, burning wreckage ignite in the background. So here's the results. It can be quite hit and miss. If there's a lot of camera movement, your face can become distorted. But if the camera stays relatively still, you can get something quite cinematic. And I can use the first few seconds of this. So now that I have a LoRA model of my face, I can create all kinds of images and videos featuring myself. Of course, the tools are not free. You need to pay for the computing power to do all this training and image and video generations. But it can be quite useful for a marketing team on a tight budget. You can create new ads and interesting content for your social media. So I think it's going to be quite useful, and it will get even better in the future. So give it a try and let me know if you need any help.